Welcome to Tribal Jazzman Scholar. I hope I'm not bouncing too much, but I wanted to say something about stories. I tell some stories in my posts, and I'm not going to say that all the facts are right. Storytelling is an art form, and it requires some improvisation. Sometimes you got to link things together. Sometimes you got to make stuff up just to make it hold together. Now, I want to say, though, that I am a big fan of footnoting and referencing and getting your facts straight. I'm also a big fan of making sure that the thrust of an idea is communicated clearly. And when it comes to storytelling, I take some liberal turns. I remember when I was in graduate school, and I wanted to share this story. I was in a doctoral program, and there were 26 of us, and one of our classes was setting us up to tell our own leadership story. Like, how did we end up getting into this program? Why do we want to be educational leaders? It was a doctorate in educational leadership. So the activity that we did in the class that evening was to spend about 20 minutes and to write a story that was a true story about something that had happened to us, that we felt informed our thinking about education, or that formed us as human beings. It was a very general request, general assignment. We all spent our 20, 30 minutes writing it, and then we were supposed to read it to somebody. And we did that, and we shared our story, and then we all gathered back together in the main room, and the professor asked us, if every single thing you said in your story is 100% true, please raise your hand. I think one person might have raised their hand, but the general feeling was that nobody raised their hand. And the idea that she was trying to share with us, the goal of the lesson was, when we're asked, when we tell a story, it's not often all true. I mean, sometimes we forget, it's not meant to be deceptive, but if we're talking about, something that happened to us once, I told a story about some students that were in a conflict, and they were resolving the conflict through a really beautiful act of, it's in another Tribal Jazzman post, but one of the students came to me and retrieved the painting, and I didn't remember if it was at recess or lunch, but I didn't want to stop and ponder or offer the fact that I didn't know, so I just said, and during recess she came to me, so sometimes we fill the story in a way that adequately keeps the continuity going. And that's how stories change. I hopefully didn't compromise the gist of the story. That would be unforgivable. But anyway, Tribal Jazzman Scholar, I'm just touching on the fact that storytelling is an art form. It requires some degree of spontaneity and improvisation. And if our intent is to communicate the gist, the thesis, the main idea of the story, we're beholden to that main idea, and we have a commitment to it. However, there is an unwitting flexibility sometimes with the details, and that's just the nature of storytelling. So beware. Thanks for joining us.